Hi everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. I am starting the video this week at the end of the process with the actual flowers themselves, because I have just picked myself a bunch of flowers for the house, and many of these varieties are actually biennial, and it is the perfect time now until the middle of June to be sowing biennials. So the word biennial means a flower that takes one full growing year to come into flower. So therefore we have to sow them now because they're in flower now, so that they'll so that they'll flower next year. It's a little bit confusing. Now much of this bouquet is actually biennial, not all of it, so I'll just take you on a close-up tour of this bouquet now. So I'll talk you through anything that's not biennial first. So we've got Sapponora in there, which is a hardy annual, and that's a sort of filler flower in this bouquet. We've got Sweet Juliet roses in there, and we've got our agrostemma or corn cockle in there, and then everything else that's in this bouquet, apart from that little calendula that's tucked in there, everything else in this bouquet is actually biennial. So in the biennials we have got this foxglove here, which is lovely, and this is called Sutton's apricot. And we've got an alba foxglove here, and we have also got Sweet Williams, white Sweet Williams down at the bottom there, dianthus to give them their proper name, and this lovely pink campanula here, and this plant here, which you don't see grown as much, to be honest, but I think it's absolutely lovely. This is a salvia, so it's called Salvia Vatican's white. Produces a really big plant, and some of the flowers have a nice like droopy effect like this. But I just think it's really lovely, just coming out the side that bouquet. And all of those flowers are biennial. Now there are other biennials as well which are coming to an end now in the field. So we've got Hesperus in the field, which is going to seed currently, and we've got Lunaria or Honesty, which has already flowered, and we're leaving those seed pods on the plant to produce seed so that we can sow it next year, because I've already got gathered seed for this year. Quick look at those, and then we'll get on with sowing our biennials so that we've got flowers this time in 2026. So this is Salvia Vatican's white in the field. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's really, really tall, as you can see there. Woolly, strong leaves, really strong stems. It's just looking lovely at the minute, and that's another biennial. I'm producing these absolutely gorgeous seed heads at the minute. This is Angelica. So I'll leave the seed for another few weeks on this to ripen up, or maybe another week, weather dependent, and then we'll harvest the seed off it and sow this for next year. Best practice when sowing any seeds, but particularly biennials, because so many of the seeds are absolutely tiny, is always pre-water your seed trays, because wet compost is easier for the seed to stick to, and it'll be less likely that your first watering will just wash all the seed off the surface of your seed tray. So always pre-water your seed trays and give them a really, really good drink, and let the compost settle before you start to sow your seeds. This is Hesperus seed, and with the Hesperus I'm going to pinch sow it. So just taking a pinch of seed like that, and each cell is going to get a pinch worth of seed. So probably about 4 or 5 seeds. I'm not going to be thinning these out when they start to germinate. Hesperus will grow quite happily as a clump. So just sprinkling them in there. And then when I've sown them all I'll do is put a little bit of pressure onto the seeds with my fingers, making sure that the seed is in contact with the surface. I'm not actually burying the seed, I'm just making sure it's in contact with the compost surface. Then on top of that, I'm going to be sprinkling a 50-50 mix of vermiculite and dry compost. Now these seeds here are Lunaria, or commonly known as Honesty seeds. You can see there they're quite big. They are a bit of an erratic germinator, these ones. So it's best to get fresh seed if you can, which you can gather straight from your plants. After Honesty's flowered, it produces seed pods, and then you let the seed pods ripen, and then in the autumn you can cut those stems with the seed pods on, and then inside each pod you will find a couple of seeds. And then when you peel the seed pods away on Honesty, that's when you get those lovely silver looking discs that everyone likes for floristry. So it's a winner plant as far as I'm concerned, just a little bit erratic to germinate. So if you bought Honesty seed, I would say keep it in the fridge for a couple of weeks before you sow it. And then I actually sink the seeds down with Honesty, not too deep, just beneath the surface, and then keep the compost moist until you see signs of germination. So this seed here is the campanula seed, and this is to be surface sown. So what I've done there is I've already created a little well in the cell trays, because you can see the seed's really fine, and when we water we don't want it getting washed off the surface. So by creating a little well, it'll sit in that and it's less likely to get washed off the surface. So with this we just create a fold in the paper, and then it's a case of just gently tapping, and you can see when you're tapping the seed is falling down to the end of the paper, and that just allows you to trickle in a couple of seeds. Again, like the Hesperus, I'm putting about 3 seeds in per cell, and these I'm not going to thin out either. I'll just let them grow on happily and they'll be absolutely fine growing as a clump. And these tiny little seeds, if I put the nib of this pen in, you can see how tiny they are. These are Foxglove seeds. They're absolutely minuscule. And we're going to be sowing Digitalis purpurea alba and Sutton's apricot and cafe creme, which is woolly foxglove. Foxgloves like to be surface sown, and because they're so tiny we're going to be trickle sowing them, and I'd expect these to germinate in around about 2 to 3 weeks. Tunnels are really hot this time of year, so biennials are getting sown into their seed trays and then placed underneath the tables, like that down there. And then if you see underneath the seed trays, I'm actually placing them onto cardboard. That's because the cardboard will absorb the moisture under there, and it'll keep moisture around the plants and reduce the heat under the tables as well. So just to show you the difference in temperature, I've cleared this thermometer and I'm just going to leave it down here for about 20 minutes and then come back and we'll see what the temperature is under the table as a comparison. You can see it's dropping there straight away. So there we are, that's the difference in temperature because this is under the table. So that's perfect temperature for germinating these biennials. So there we go everyone, thank you for watching our YouTube video, and I hope this video has inspired you to grow some lovely biennials flowers in readiness so that you can cut yourself a bouquet similar to this time next year. If you've enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.